listening to the VMX Show, Season 5.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the VMX Show. This is Season 5, Episode 6. That's right, you have reached Level 5-6. Now is the time of continuing A Winner Is You. Let's get right to it. I don't have a guest today, and I'll reiterate what I said on the VMX Facebook. You guys are really good about telling me you want to be on the show, but not so good at actually doing it. You know, following through and coming on the show, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I've actually asked some pretty well-known people if they want to come on the show. Haven't got any replies yet, but you never know. I'm going to be reaching out to even more people. But if you're a fan of the show and you do want to be on, tell me and actually follow through on it. Otherwise, don't tell me at all. No sense in that. So let's get immediately to your questions and comments from last week. Now, we start off with one from CoolVids19, who says, "Cool video, been waiting long for this." Actually, you've only been waiting a week. That's how long it takes between episodes. So, I don't know. It may seem like a lot, but it's the same amount of time each time. He says, "Will you be buying a Vita, and what do you think of the ACTA bill?" Well, to answer the first part of your question, why you no listen? In last episode alone, I must have mentioned at least 5 or 6 times games that I'll be getting for the Vita and how I'm going to be getting a Vita and how I can't wait to get the Vita. So why are you asking me this? As for the ACTA bill is if you don't know what it is, it's the anti-counterfeiting trade agreement, which has sort of come into prevalence after the defeat of SOPA and PIPA. Now, the problem with this is it's not actually a United States thing. It was created in Japan, and it already is a law. Now, we've become a signatory on it, so it's sort of something that's already been in effect. As for what I think of it, I don't think very much of it, to be honest. But I don't think it's as damaging as SOPA and PIPA would have been, simply because it's not nearly as vague and because it was originated in a foreign country. So that being said, there you have it. That's my thoughts on ACTA. Now, Usora says, I had mentioned MySpace and how nobody really uses MySpace. Usora says Justin Timberlake was promoting MySpace at CES, actually. You think people will actually use MySpace in the future? Now, I don't even need to respond to this because somebody else kind of beat me to it. This guy, Smackers LP, said, "For me, that makes it more dead than it already was." And I have to fully agree. That's pretty much exactly what I would say. A has-been idiot who I couldn't care less about promoting it at CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, which has sort of become dwarfed by shows like E3. So I just fail on every level there. Fail. That reminds me of I don't know, somebody on an old K-Pro trying to go on Ask Jeeves or something. Moving on, Splashfire0x says, "Interesting show, Necro. I've been waiting to get into Zelda for a while now. Do you know what game would be good to start with?" The thing about the Zelda series is they're pretty much all good. There's some that I like more than others, but there's really no reason that you couldn't just pick one at random and start with that one, or just start with whatever the newest one is, which would be Skyward Sword or possibly Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS. I mean, it just... How the hell do you get into Zelda this late? That's what I want to know. I mean, that's amazing. But, yeah, I don't know. Just pick one. It doesn't really matter. I mean, personally, Wind Waker is my favorite. But I don't know what systems you have or anything, so... But that's what I would say, yeah, get Wind Waker. That one was awesome. Actually, it looks like he started playing Wind Waker from the replies here, and he never realized how good it is until he started playing it. So there you go. Mission accomplished. Now, Mr. Go Lucky Fish says, it's a shame that games like Kinect Adventure sold so well. I was hoping for the motion control fad to die, but I doubt it will now. Based on the current trends, it only seems like it will become more popular, which is unfortunate because it will just get a repeat of last year's E3 conferences. I thought last year's E3 conferences were fine. Microsoft kind of failed epically, but the Sony and Nintendo ones were great. You don't have to play the motion games. Why do you want it to fail? Seriously. A lot of people enjoy them. I'll never understand that mentality. How do you say this guy's name? Real Nsuiko says, great show, Necro. Well, thanks. John Stone W1985 says, hey, Necro, do feel bad that what? Would it kill you guys to use proper grammar? Here's a hint. Before you post something, read it out loud. And if it doesn't make sense, don't post it. Okay, this is what he said. Hey, Necro, do feel bad that my brother likes Duke Nukem Forever, and that's his first Duke Nukem game ever. Okay, I guess he's asking me if I feel bad about that. No, I don't care. Why would I care about your brother playing a game and enjoying it? And that's his... You gotta remember, okay... the last game in the series came out in like the 90s. Of course it's his first game ever. Oh, well, first Duke Nukem game ever. WWE 12345678990QQA says, hey, Necro VMX, great show. You make the best VMX show ever. Well, I hope so. Who else is making VMX show? And could you answer this for the show? I've never played Street Fighter or Skyrim. How are they? Really? They're great. I'm just going to move on. I'm not even going to comment there. Yeah. Dark Hill Pick 28 says, oh my god, here's another one that makes no sense. Alright. Did you shows on the Sci-Fi Channel? Wow. And then he puts 3 question marks. Personally, I only watch TNG and Twilight Zone original series on it. I watch Chiller more than Sci-Fi because... they play The Outer Limits, 60s, 90s, 80s, Twilight Zone, Ripley's Believe It or Not, and Beyond Belief, which should be airing on the Sci-Fi for some odd reason. I don't really watch a lot of television, so really, no. I don't have time to watch a lot of TV, so there you have it. Mr. Jobo Khan says, the Mega Man in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I'm saying it's Mega Man for the Mega Man 1 box art. That would be kick-ass. I don't want it to be Frank West. He's a terrible character. Well, I disagree about Frank West, but I do agree that would be really funny if it was like this big manly Mega Man like on the box art from the first game. So that actually would be rather funny. Sal M262 says the Edward Norton Hulk was good. No, it wasn't. Moving on. Smackers LP says, great show. Always looking forward to weekend because of it. Always looking forward to weekend. Is this like a disease that everybody has this week, that missing words? Because also, what's your favorite tactical RPG? I already talked about that in the episode that you're commenting on. Moving on. Red Devil Dazzy 2007 says, good episode once again. There's nothing up with me. I guess I only said your name as I say it on Sky. Oh, right. Now, here's my question. Have you played any mobile games? And if so, what ones do you like? No, I don't know. No, I put that on like the same level as like Facebook games or no way, never happen. Savage Broadcast says, hey Necro, got a couple of quickies for you. 1. In some previous videos you mentioned you didn't like the Rocketeer or the Phantom. Could you explain as to why, and if I can ask, what about the Shadow? I didn't like the Rocketeer or the Phantom because they were... Well, I never mentioned the Phantom, did I? Well, they were terrible movies. There's just nothing good about them. The Shadow was a little bit better, but I don't know, B+, you know what I mean? It was good, but it wasn't great. B- is more like it. What do you think of elitists? Do you think they are nitpicky and oversensitive to different things and alternate opinions? No, that's not really what elitism is about. Elitism is really about feeling that you're better than someone, and it's not that they're being nitpicky or oversensitive. It's that they're being dicks. That's really what it is. It's just a personality disorder as far as I'm concerned. Dave Cornfan says, wow, my brother did a radio show years ago and he said your show was just copying him word for word. I would give you proof, but I've lost all the tapes. You're a cheat. That'll never stop being funny. Okay, seriously though, my question is, what's your thoughts on there being about 4 ongoing Batman series since the New 52? I can't get enough of Batman, but sometimes it's confusing reading 4 different stories at once since there's no previously on segments at the beginning. Also, your Facebook page is very handy. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, and everybody should go to the Facebook page and like it. It's very handy. Facebook.com/NecroVMX. As for, 4 ongoing Batman series, that's less than there was previously. So previously you had Batman, you had Detective Comics, you had The Dark Knight, you had Batman and Robin, and those are the 4 we have now. But they also had Batman Incorporated, and Red Robin, and Nightwing. Well, Nightwing we still have, and they didn't have Batwing, but I don't read that, so I don't know. I think all 4 of them are great. I think I like Detective Comics the best out of all of them, and Batman and Robin second. Moving along. Jupe Reindeer says, from some strange corner of who knows where, I've read that the Puppy Chow Wagon game was not released to store shelves. It was a special. Oh, who cares? What does it matter? All right. It was still a shameless. It was an example of a shameless promotion of a product in a video game. Who cares whether they released it on shelves or you had to send for it? Moving on, he says, when you brought up early in-video game advertising, I quickly thought of World Games, where all the Olympians traveled to places via Pan Am Airlines, I believe it was. Had a couple of inches of a plane graphic during loading. I never knew about that one, so that one's interesting. S. Brennan 081492 says, great show as always, Necro. My question is, have you played the game Rage, and what is your opinion? All right. From now on, I've said this already, but from now on, stop asking me, have you played this game and what is your opinion of it? What do you care? I'm so sick of answering those questions. Ask me something interesting. That's not interesting. I'm so sick of, have you played this and what's your opinion of it? How do you play this? What do you care what my opinion of it is? Seriously. Just come up with something different. I get so many of those questions. Alright, Zach KNY says, hey Necro, I'm really enjoying the Sonic feature. I never really played Sonic as a kid because I was a diehard Mario fanboy. Did you ever find yourself in favor of Sonic or Mario? Well, I didn't have the Genesis as a kid, so there you have it. Plus, the Sonic games are good, but Mario is just the quality of the games is just way, way better, so there you go. And he says, or did you know they were both good games? Well, I knew they were good, but I knew Sonic was good. It's just Mario's great, so there you have it. P.S. Would you ever have imagined that Mario and Sonic would join forces and the result would be the shit stain that is Olympic Games? No, I never thought. I never thought that Sega would give up on consoles like that and then develop for other consoles. And I never thought that you'd see Mario and Sonic in an official capacity together. There was the Super NES one, the Sonic on Super NES, which was a unlicensed game that somebody made, I think in China or something, where it was a Speedy Gonzales game, and they took out Speedy Gonzales and put in Sonic, and Mario was in there too. You couldn't play as Mario, you were actually rescuing Mario. I do have a video on it that me and Julie did a few years ago. I never thought that it would be in an official capacity, and then you'd think that it would be awesome, but it's not. So far, the only game that has officially Mario and Sonic together and is good is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Wario Barker 88 says, a good example of blatant product placement in a video game would be Crazy Taxi. Indeed, their removal from the Xbox 360 version is why I don't have it there. It just didn't feel the same. Yeah, that's a good example. I'd also have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on my 360, but they decided to remove the in-game shop and have everything unlocked from the start. Okay? That is kind of assy. I don't know. I guess the reason they did that is because for the people, anybody who's buying Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the 360 is probably buying it for the multiplayer and online matches, and they want to have all 56 characters available from the get-go, but Personally, what's the fun in that? I like unlocking the characters. So yeah, that kind of brings me back to like King of Fighters 12, where there was nothing to unlock, there was no story mode, there was no reason to play it other than online matches. So I don't know. That's kind of shitty. Potter Riddle 9 says, "What is your opinion on?" All right, moving on. Spikester 55. He want to know my opinion on Marvel vs. Capcom. I just talked about it anyway. Spikester 55 says, "Thanks you." Well, that was a fail on my part. "Thank you for answering my last question. You mentioned that you like Death Battle. Who would you like to see battle to the death? I would like to see an all-out battle royale between Sonic, Naked Snake, Kratos, Dante, both Devil May Cry and Dante's Inferno, Rick from Splatterhouse, Monkey from Enslaved, Gabriel Belmont, because he's the newest one and he's awesome, the Prince from Prince of Persia, and Link, and where the winner is the last one alive. And who do you think would win from my selection?" It's so weird. You have all these like badass beefy dudes from modern action games, and then you have Link and Sonic. That's weird. Wow. Who do I think would I'd probably give that to Kratos, but other than that, who would I like to see battle in Death Battle? That's a tough one because they've already done some really great ones. But actually, you know what? I'm gonna take Rick from Splatterhouse in there. I would like to see Rick from Splatterhouse go up against Jack from Mad World, so you could have the battle of the beat 'em up chainsaw wielding maniacs. That would be pretty cool. Why don't we do that? So that being said, that's it for questions and comments. So we're gonna get to the news. So to start off, some news coming out of Capcom. I think I mentioned this last week, but it's now official. Resident Evil 6 has officially been announced, and you can go ahead and watch the trailer online. I'd tell you where to watch it, but what's the point? It's probably on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in Resident Evil 6 official trailer, and it'll come right up. It looks like Leon Kennedy returns from 4, and Chris Redfield from the original game and 5 returns. Looks like there's also a couple of other playable characters, and it also looks like it's hard to tell, but it also looks like each of the players that you play as has a different style of gameplay. So I can't really tell for sure, but that's what it looks like. Sad to announce that Hudson Soft is no more. Hudson Soft was the developer of such games as Adventure Island and the Mylon series. They have been bought out by Konami. So, who knows? I think that Konami has Solid Snake take the Hudson B and take him out back and, shoot him. But yeah, Hudson branded products and services will continue to be developed, but it will all be under the banner of Konami. This will be official. The Hudson website's still up, but Konami will be officially taking over Hudson as of March 1st, and I guess the website will go down and will probably redirect to Konami's website at that point. So now, it's not like it's not like they've been making amazing games. I mean, they made Bomberman X-Zero, but I don't know. Maybe Konami will. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe Konami will restore Bomberman to his former glory, or maybe there'll be another new Adventure Island or something. But as for now, that's the sad news about Hudson Soft. If you're a Skyrim player and you have the game for PC, well, I have good news for you. You can beta test the new version of Skyrim, version 1.4, on Steam. So you might want to look into that. If you dare, all you have to do is bring up Steam, go to your account, you hit the account tab, and under settings, you click change on beta participation. There'll be a little menu that'll come up, and Skyrim beta will be on there. You just click that, and then restart the Steam client, and you're good to go. So next time you boot up Skyrim, it should update itself, and you can play the beta version. Now, if it's too buggy or you don't want to play it anymore, or you want to go back to the old version, you just go back into the settings and just opt out about it. So pretty simple to just turn it back off. So that's what's going on there with Skyrim. Some sad news for Street Fighter Cross Tekken. If you remember Mortal Kombat from last year, there was the Kratos character who was exclusive to the PlayStation 3, and there was no character exclusive to the Xbox 360, and this happened basically because NetherRealm Games and Warner Brothers couldn't come to an accordance with Microsoft. They couldn't come to an agreement. Well, this has happened to Street Fighter Cross Tekken, although the PlayStation 3 and Vita versions will have exclusive characters such as Cole from Infamous. I listed them all last week. The Microsoft one, the Xbox 360 one, will only have the core roster. And basically, once again, Capcom was in discussions with Microsoft trying to get exclusive characters on the Xbox 360, but it just didn't have it. They didn't reach a deal. They want, and I don't know, they fail again because they were saying, we would have had Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War or Master Chief from Halo. Really? Those are terrible ideas for a fighting game. I'm glad they didn't come to a deal with that, and I'm glad that they didn't wind up in Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, I felt that since they Microsoft owns Rare, and even though Rare is busy making Kinect games, but they own all the Rare characters, I thought that Fulgore from Killer Instinct would have made an excellent addition to Mortal Kombat on Xbox 360. But oh well, yeah, that's what's going on there. There you go. But that's sad news. Here's some good Capcom news. If you're a fan of Capcom but you haven't gotten into their digital games, the Capcom Digital Collection will be coming out on March 27th. This is coming out in the United States on March 27th, March 30th in Europe. It's probably already out in Japan, or I don't know. I don't have a Japanese release date. This is a disc title for Xbox 360, which you can get. It has 1942 Joint Strike, Bionic Commando Rearm 2. Strangely, you don't get the first one. Final Fight, Double Impact, Flock, Rocket Man Axis of Evil, which includes the DLC, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, and Wolf of the Battlefield Commando 3. So that's pretty cool. Now that's good news if you haven't got any of these, because if you were to download all of them for Xbox Live, it would cost you around $100, and of course take up a whole lot of space on your hard drive. But if you get the disc version, you obviously get it for much cheaper. I don't have a particular price, but I would imagine... Oh, I do have a price, actually. It's $40. So you save $60, and you save a lot of space on your hard drive. So that's pretty cool, all things saying. News about Microsoft and Xbox Live. It looks like they are phasing out Microsoft points to be going in favor of actual money, which is the way that Sony has been doing it from the beginning, and the way that Nintendo has been doing it ever since the release of the 3DS. So, I always thought that... I never minded it on the Wii because it was, very easy to understand. It was 1,000 Wii points, $10. 2,000 Wii points, $20. So basically, a Wii point is a penny. Very easy to understand. And okay, 800 800 Microsoft points. How much is that? $10. How the hell do you figure? So, yeah, that's good. I'm glad that they'll just be moving. It'll just say the cost in actual money. So there you have it. Some interesting news coming out of THQ. A former employee of THQ who got laid off sent a rather nasty letter airing a lot of dirty laundry for THQ. It's way too long for me to actually read here, but if you want to read it, well, I found it on Joystick. It's all over the place. Just go into Google and Google it. Former THQ employee airs dirty laundry in open letter. So, it's kind of interesting to read. I don't want to get into it too much, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Square Enix has now joined GOG.com. If you're not familiar with GOG.com, GOG stands for Good Old Games. And basically what they do over at Good Old Games is they sell older titles for PC that usually are a bitch to run on modern systems, or they're hard to find or whatever, and they sell it to you free of DRM. And it's sort of like Steam in a way, free of DRM, and really just duty-free games. It's a great way to get older games. So if you want to check that out, Square Enix is now part of this, and you can get Hitman Codename 47 and Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition on GOG. And those are both pretty cool, especially since Hitman never came to consoles. The sequels did, but the original Hitman never came to consoles, and Deus Ex is a great RPG that everybody should play at one point. Last week I talked about Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 and that it seems like it's actually happening, and now I can tell you it is definitely happening, as the game has been rated by the ESRB. E for everyone, of course, just so you know. But games do not get ESRB. It costs money to get them rated, so you don't get a game rated by the ESRB unless it's finished and ready to go. So that will be released. Very rare does a game get rated by the ESRB and not come out. Unfortunately, it's only coming out for Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. No WiiWare version. So if you didn't get it, if you got the first one for the Wii, then I'm sorry, you'll have to get the second one for a different system. There's also, I understand, no Android or iOS version, and the first game was on Android and iOS, so that's another large group of people that are missing out. But oh well, you shouldn't be playing mobile games. Some Kinect news. This is just weird. I didn't even know if this was official or not, but apparently there is a Kinect themed theme park in South Korea. So, yeah. They made this whole theme park. It uses the Kinect tech combined with some other stuff. And apparently, like, you get these wristbands, and then there's, like, these, it creates avatars, and you move around, and you interact with them. I don't know. It's only in Korea could something that strange happen. Final Fantasy 13-2 is coming out in just a few days, on Tuesday actually, and it already will be having DLC. The first game did not have DLC, but this one does. You can download Lightning, who is not a playable character. She's in the game, but she's not a playable character, but you can get her as a playable character as DLC. She'll be a Coliseum character that once defeated can become a party member, so that's interesting. Square Enix has also stated there will be some secret story episodes for Lightning and more characters from Final Fantasy XIII that will potentially have some similar story DLC, so that'll be interesting. If you remember last season, I was talking a lot about Netflix and Quickster and everything, and as you know, they decided not to do Quickster and everything. It looks like they will not be having video games. That was a big speculation as to, will Netflix offer video games kind of the same way that GameFly does, and Netflix has come out and said right now no. So they're still investigating the possibility, but right now no. Back to Resident Evil 6 for a second, actually. Resident Evil 6 is coming out, and Capcom is celebrating in Japan the only way they know how, very, very strangely. There is now a restaurant, the Capcom Bar, which is in Shinjuku, Tokyo, where you could eat food that looks like brains. You can get like brain cake dessert, which is like a cake made to look like a brain. It has like some sort of, I don't know if it's raspberry or cherry or some kind of syrup on it to look like blood. I mean, yeah. You could get tofu mode, like the tofu man. I mean, you can get a stack of onion rings. There's that. That's more related to Phoenix Wright. So there's that. They have all sorts of Capcom meals there, but they're opening it mostly in celebration of Resident Evil 6, but they do have meals that you can get that relate to other Capcom properties. I don't know why they're doing this. It's just so weird. But I guess I should talk about the stupid Xbox rumors. Rumors that they'll be using Blu-ray discs. Yeah, probably. Rumors that they'll be blocking used games. No, that's not going to happen. I'll tell you why it's not going to happen. It's a stupid rumor. Although, used games, there's a sort of a feeling in the industry that used games hurts the industry, because when you buy a used game, you're not paying the developer or the publisher, you're only paying the distributor. You become let's say you buy a whole bunch of games, Capcom games, for example, at GameStop. You're not a Capcom customer. you're a GameStop customer. Capcom got paid once for the game. GameStop sold it to some guy. He beat it, sold it back, and they sell it back. And then that person beats it, and then they sell it back. And it goes back and forth. Capcom doesn't get paid for this. And they'd rather people buy the new game, which is not that much more expensive, and they get paid. Now, personally, the thing is, a lot of people that sell games back to GameStop are using that to finance the purchase of new games. So there's that. The reason, though, that I don't believe for a second that the Xbox 360's next iteration, I refuse to call it Xbox 720, because I don't think they'll name it something so stupid, but I don't believe that they'll have any kind of technology in place to block out used games. They might do something like the Vita does, where if you want to play a used game, you have to erase everything on it, which, like, why wouldn't you, you know? But I don't believe it for a second, and I'll tell you why. The reason is because it'll piss people off, and they will go flailing and screaming away towards the Wii U and the PlayStation 4, or whatever the PlayStation 4 will be called. Actually, speaking of the Wii U, that might not actually be a thing. Well, Nintendo will certainly be releasing a new console, possibly sometime this year, but probably sometimes next year, and that will have a tablet controller and all the other great things you saw at E3. They're thinking now, there's a bit of a rumor going around, or sort of speculation, that they might change the name of it, that it might not be called Wii U. So keep an eye on that. I talked about Kinect for Windows and how dumb that is. Well, not only can you get Kinect for Windows, but apparently Kinect sensors are now being tested for use in laptops. So, yeah. I don't know why. I guess that's better than I don't know. I can't think of which is worse. For fans of the Shin Megami Tensei series, in particular Persona, there is a fighting game coming out, a Persona 4 themed fighting game, which will be coming out in Japan for arcade in March. So it's called Persona 4 The Ultimate in Mayonaka Arena. No news on whether it will come out outside of Japan or whether it will come out for, we'll say, consoles even. But it does exist, or rather it will exist soon. So there's that. Speaking of Wii U, I mentioned Wii U before, or whatever it might be called. They've given an official name to their online service. So, you have Xbox Live Arcade, you have PlayStation Network, and now you will have Nintendo Network. So they are going to be launching Nintendo Network for Wii U and the 3DS. So that's interesting. It's going to be a DLC delivery system, online gaming, all the other stuff that, they should have had a while ago. Speaking of Nintendo, they are working on a new Mario game, and this will be a side-scrolling Mario game for the 3DS that they say will be totally new. We don't have a title, we don't have a release, we don't have anything, just that Satoru Iwata said they are building a totally new side-scrolling Super Mario game for the 3DS. So, that's pretty cool. And finally, speaking of Nintendo once again, we have their new downloads available this week from Nintendo, so let's get to that. We got, for the 3DS, you can get Mutant Mudds for $8.99. That's from Renegade Kid. Love pixels, fond of platformers? Is there a special place in your heart for the 8-bit and 16-bit era? Want to have fun? Yes. Well, now you come to the right place, my friend. Mutant Mudds is a 12-bit, I don't know what the hell they mean by 12-bit, but 12-bit action platformer full of pixels and platforming fun. So, it's apparently an old-school platformer. It looks pretty cool. You could also get a demo on the 3DS of Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games from Sega. That's free. So if you're a masochist, you could try that. For DSiWare, you can get Flipper 2 Flush the Goldfish from Engine Software for 500 points. I guess you'd also have to be a masochist to get that. A little boy has been kidnapped by an evil monster. There's no time to waste. Flush has to act quickly and rescue his best friend and owner. Luckily, Flush has a super secret robot suit, and that will make things easier. You know what would make things even easier? Not playing that. Also for DSiWare, you can get Lola's Alphabet Train from Biez for 200 points. Learning the alphabet has never been more fun than in Lola's Alphabet Train, the most exciting educational kids game. So if you have young kids, you want to teach them. It says for 3 to 7-year-olds, though honestly, if you're 7, you don't know the alphabet, you might want to be put in a special class, just saying. For WiiWare, you can get Newton versus the Horde from Radiant Burn for 500 points. The scientists are being attacked by a vicious horde of monsters. Use physics to splat these nasty creatures before they get close. Squash them, skewer them, explode them, and do whatever you can to help our scientist friends survive. That actually sounds like it might be kind of fun. For $5, who can go wrong? But that's it for the show. We're going to end the show as we normally do with the sales figures from the latest week that I have the sales figures available for, not the latest week. So the week ending in January 21st, let's go to the top-selling games. First, the top-selling games in America. The number one selling game was Just Dance 3 on the Wii, which sold 61,942 copies. Kinect Adventures on Xbox 360 sold 60,946 copies. Zumba Fitness on the Wii sold 48,747 copies. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 sold 48,504 copies. Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS sold 40,473 copies. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim on Xbox 360 sold 36,604 copies. Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS sold 33,385 copies. NBA 2K12 on the Xbox 360 sold 33,371 copies. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the PlayStation 3 sold 28,703 copies. And UFC Personal Trainer The Ultimate Fitness System, that's actually a thing, for Xbox 360 sold 26,029 copies. In Europe, the top-selling game was also Just Dance 3 on the Wii, which sold 54,320 copies. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the PlayStation 3 sold 42,720 copies. Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS sold 37,658 copies. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 sold 35,533 copies. Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS sold 35,122 copies. Zumba Fitness on the Wii sold 34,200 copies. Star Wars The Old Republic on PC sold 32,997 copies. FIFA Soccer 12 on the PlayStation 3 sold 31,520 copies. Kinect Adventures on the Xbox 360 sold 29,331 copies, and The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim on PlayStation 3 sold 29,278 copies. In Japan, the biggest selling game was Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS. 3DS really dominating the sales this week, by the way. Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS sold 36,728 copies. Monster Hunter 3G on the 3DS sold 32,578 copies. Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure on the 3DS sold 30,815 copies. Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS sold 29,809 copies. Onechambara Z Kagura on the Xbox 360 sold 22,158 copies. Heroes Fantasia on the PlayStation Portable sold 15,309 copies. Inazuma 11 Go on the 3DS sold 15,139 copies. Beyond the Labyrinth on 3DS sold 13,864 copies. Super Robot Wars OG Saga Musou 2 Revelation of Evil God on the PlayStation Portable sold 12,123 copies. And Musou Orochi 2 on PlayStation 3 sold 11,515 copies. Moving on to hardware, in North America, the biggest selling console was the Xbox 360, which moved 103,508 units. So kudos to the Xbox 360, that's a lot. The 3DS moved 86,450 units. The PlayStation 3, 63,967 units. The Wii, 56,661 units. The DS, 29,199 units. The PSP, 13,361 units. The Vita, not out yet. In Europe, the top-selling console was PlayStation 3 with 81,498 units sold. 3DS sold 64,310 units. It started off slow, but it's doing great now. The Wii sold 36,816 units. Who still doesn't have a Wii? On the DS, 24,994 units, and PlayStation Portable, 23,442 units. Vita's not out yet in Europe. In Japan, Top selling console was the 3DS with 76,373 units sold. PlayStation 3 moved 21,737 units. The PlayStation Portable, 20,574 units. The Vita, 14,068 units. The Wii, 9,319 units. The DS, 2,312 units. And the 360, 1,412 units. So worldwide, the biggest selling console was the 3DS. Followed by PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation Portable, DS, and the Vita, which is only out in Japan. So there you have it. That's the show for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we'll get somebody on. If not, oh well, we'll just do it this way. Again, no big deal. So we'll see you then. VMX out.